neighborhood, and I've seen it. Everything's gone, as you know, because you've been back in town since what the early 2000s, and
Yeah,
your family lived around the same street that the
right.
studio's on. And I'm looking around, I see where we used to have like corner stores, and they're literally on nearly every corner. The other corners that weren't were churches. Okay, and there's a lot of mom and pop places, and I remember in particular the one across the street, the store across the street from where the studio is located, studio and church is located. There was a Dean store, and Mr. Dean was known to make. He was a meat cutter, and along with being just a store owner, he was a mom and pop place. Him and his wife owned the place, and you'd have to go there when you bought the meat from there. You actually had to put something in a pan for prevent it from sticking. That's how lean he cut it. And I'm sure he didn't go to a corporation and buy that meat. I'm sure he bought some from. He lived out in the country. He lived out in Davison.
Probably got it from a local farm.
Yeah, see, that brings up the point of like local supply of food is probably the best way to go. And a few years ago, the experts are even saying that, and the corporations, of course, basically pushed that out of the
Right, and what
narrative.
they're trying
But
to do, and they're making it more and more. The FDA getting involved in our business and making it illegal for the farmers to sell his product directly to the people.
yeah, because they basically corporations have bought our officials, and the officials then in turn pointed people who were agreeable to this in the FDA and other, the other agricultural things that now that they have to sell through a corporation, and they're going to mark it up, and it's going to be the people who are the middleman. As it's always been the case. I remember my grandparents owned a grocery store on the west side of the city, and that was the same thing. The middleman, this egg producer, they could buy eggs and stuff like that back then, but it was getting pushed out then, even back in the
But
40s.
it was a video from a UFC fighter. I don't remember. I sent it to
Yeah,
you,
Bryce Mitchell, yeah.
uh,
It,
and
it,
he explains better than we can about how what he says. The poor cowboy is the one, and the poor farmer is the one doing all the work. And
right.
these meat packing companies, from what I understand, there's only three
Well,
major ones
right,
in the United States. They're the ones that the farmers getting paid the same amount of money.
right.
It's the meat packers that are distributing it, and they're deciding how much it's going to be. It's like they're a commodity that's traded like much like oil or gold or silver.
It's a commodity. Yeah, it's exactly. I remember, there's a movie about 48 hour called on a 48. It was Trading Places or something like that. It was like the guy was like going to get information about commodities like orange juice and pork bellies. Well, pork bellies means
Right.
slaughtered pigs, and yeah, I mean, but Bryce Mitchell, I don't know what state he's out of, but what he brought up in that video was very close. He said, "I can't sell, let the local growers, sell the meat, and produce milk and sell raw milk to
I
the
mean,
consumers locally."
but wouldn't you feel better if you could go to a farm and you can see how the animals are raised and you can see that they were ethically treated in the whole process as they were raised to be processed?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I think the local. I mean, there's so many reasons why local production of foods should be looked upon and pushed for. Because let's face it, we are having disrupt. We're going to have massive disruptions. I mean,
Right, I'm surprised they let deer hunters go out and hunt deer.
we saw that during trying to increase the prices. The Michigan State
The
Legislature.
Democrats are
Yeah,
like having a what's the word, like the last minute taxes
right,
before they go out, because in the state of Michigan the Republicans are going to take over the House.
right.
So they're having this last minute tax grab, and they want to do a lot. They want to raise for hunting and fishing. It's not, and plus they want to have toll roads. I mean, it's crazy. It's House Bill 6230 that proposes a 30% tax increase on watercraft registrations starting in 2025, followed by another 50% hike in 2028.
With annual increases, the House Bill 6229 introduces a new permit fee for shooting ranges, raises hunting and fishing license by 50%,
Well,
and allows for yearly
right
increases.
now, a hunting license is $50
Right.
for a deer hunting license to combo.
Yeah.
So that means it's going to go up to $100.
So
And what they're trying to do is price the meat out of, you know what I mean?
right.
At some point, it's not going to make any sense, because if you can process it yourself, you're going to save money. But if you're going to a processor like
Right.
we're having our deer
Right.
done, it's paying like on average like $120 to
Right.
have it processed for you.
So it just see what they're doing is discouraging, and they're claiming they want us to engage in the great outdoors, but they're trying to make it prohibitive to engage in the great outdoors. Another thing is, I've always been irked by this. I mean, they say that we're funding programs for fisheries so he can put restock, you know,
But they're not.
streams.
The
They're
thing
not.
is, they collect money,
Right.
and what they'll do is they'll borrow money from this coffer over here for their little for their homeless or whatever their little pet project is. But they never put that money. You know, they never put that money back. They promise they
Right.
will, but you know how they do it? They do it like this. They raise their taxes.
They raise the taxes, and I mean, let's face it. I mean, I know a lot of guys who look when I was going up north quite a bit. There was several guys up there who supported their families by going deer hunting, and also they went raccoon hunting. They sold the
Well, that's
pelts.
another thing.
Yeah,
Okay, you own the property. You're the manager of the animals that live on your property.
right.
You know when you have too many deer, why do you have to get the government's permission to regulate your
Well,
property?
they claim it's like we don't want to, you know, oh, good, we don't want to encourage over hunting and killing off species. Well,
Well,
guess what? I think the hunters are going to be the ones
but
have a better interest in
But
keeping that going.
what I've seen is that the government, because it went up to the Supreme Court, the government owns the animals.
That's basically like the king. That's basically the kings that they could find you back years ago in England. They could have you put to death if you took the king's venison, you know, the king's deer, or fished in his, you know, waters. I mean, basically, we are capitulating the people we're supposed to be electing. They're saying, well, we're look at it this way. We're like it's a stewardship. We're making sure you have proper stewardship. That's a bunch of BS.
But I mean, it's stupid. It even comes down to squirrels.
Right.
What the government's going to regulate squirrels?
Yeah,
Has
everything's
their population ever been so low that they've been on the endangered species
not that I'm
list?
aware of. Matter of fact,
Why should there be a squirrel season?
well, like just before the fall hit, you know, got more closer to winter. I saw just in the backyard of the studio church here, I saw 6 different squirrels in just one glance, scouting around to get, you know, food for the winter. I mean, 6, that's quite a bit in a small area of like 1 yard. So if you extrapolate that, there's probably 5 or 6 in probably everybody's yard. There's not a shortage of them. You see them everywhere. I mean, they're
Uh,
ubiquitous, you know?
it's just what they've done to us, what they've done to our traditions,
Right.
and in hunting, and even in this state, I would never 30 years ago, I'd never thought that the kids wouldn't be excited about going hunting with their dads
No, they
or
rather play
their
the
uncles and hanging out at deer camp.
See, that's the reason my dad worked at the post office, and back then when I was a kid, young, he couldn't get regular days off, and he certainly couldn't ask for hunting season off because or a portion of it off because he was a you know, he was low man on the totem pole seniority wise. By the time he could get I got it, you know, he could get the time off on a regular basis. I kind of lost interest in hunting, which I kind of missed the boat because I kind of like the idea of it. I mean, especially now. I mean, I've tasted meat. We just had venison we got from a friend of our mutual friend of ours, and man, it was just so good to eat that yesterday. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
it's
so good.
different, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's so different. I mean, the taste is different. I mean, I mean, if I didn't have oil in it, goes back to Mr.
Maybe
Dean's.
it's because you can't taste all the chemicals
Yeah,
that aren't in
yeah,
it.
that's what they. Another thing is too. They say they I hope our Robert Kennedy gets big in the role that they want him to sign him to because I never thought I was going to agree with anything a Kennedy said ever because I can't stand the family. But he's so much on board for this changing. I mean, eliminating the chemicals from our diets. I can't but help saying this is the way to go. Just because I'm a conservative politically doesn't mean that I can see that there's a problem being set up by people consuming that much chemicals.
It's crazy.
It is
But
insane.
getting back to what the UFC fighter said, right, Bryce
Bryce
Mitchell, right?
Mitchell, yeah, Bryce.
That that government's so far up his butt, and he explains the rigmarole that he has to go through if he does want to sell. If farmers do want to sell their meats or cattlemen, whatever, to Walmart, they got to jump through all kinds of hoops and pay all kinds of money to the FDA.
Yeah, see, it's all about it. That's the thing is that somebody made it. I don't know if you sent it to me, but somebody sent a video about somebody talking about the difference between outcome, how we examine the outcomes. And for the bureaucrat, it's the process and how many steps. And if it's finally realized and you met all the qualifications, that's considered successful outcome. Whereas business people say, are we making enough money to keep ourselves going? Our bottom line being more than met, and also we're getting enough
Well,
to
I
continue
mean,
operation.
like you brought up the businessman, he's not going to create a lobby or not a lobby, but a group or a branch in within his business to study bullshit like this, where the government doesn't care because
No,
it's not their money. A bureaucrat will be happy to make blue ribbon panels and different things to study these different things and then come out and they'll be no further ahead. But too bad, too sad. They don't care. They didn't have to pay for it.
No, so, I mean, nothing's on them, and basically, when they implement something and they take a lot of money every time they implement something, it's costing millions of dollars to get it implemented. They gotta get, building space, they gotta outfit those spaces with, machines, office machinery and stuff, and computers, and the internet connections and all that stuff, so thousands, if not millions of dollars are absorbed in that, created by that, and if it's a failure, ultimately, and what their intended goal was, no big deal, there's no penalization on their heads for that.
No, and then talking about leftists celebrate the attack of the insurance CEO while ignoring how Obama forced us to buy insurance, strengthening the healthcare
Yeah, that's
companies.
I remember him.
Obama was the beginning of the end. He did this.
Yeah, he did. He brought this about because basically he said, "Well, nobody gets to cherry pick, coverage." He's talking about the companies. Well, basically, if you're making it something mandatory, you have to have, then you got to purchase it.
Well,
You are. You
but
got to
you
give
agree
everything you
for
want.
like catastrophic people that can't be insured that
Right.
there should be some like flood
Oh
insurance.
yeah, definitely. I mean,
There should be an insurance provided by the government that or at least subsidized by the government so these insurance companies can pay for it.
see, as I gotten older, I seen the need for Let's face it, when you got cover, I mean, I was paying $4 or $5,000 a year for basic coverage for what they call medical insurance. And basically, it was a medical savings plan. Basically, they call the insurance. You got a plastic card, and you save something on a pharmacy that actually would deal with this
But
kind
it's a
of thing.
joke. If
It's
you
a
think
joke,
about it,
yeah.
it's a friggin' tax. Why should you have to pay for insurance? You know what I mean? If you're young and healthy and you don't go to the doctor, you're just wasting your money, in my opinion.
Well, I say I did. My parents encouraged me to seek out a health insurance provider back when I was in my 20s.
Well,
After,
maybe a
yeah,
catastrophic plan. I mean, that might make sense, but if because right now a lot of places, like a guy gave an example for MRI, right,
all right.
for his kid. That MRI was they asked him if cash or insurance. He said, "What's the difference?" And they gave him a price of $500 for the MRI
Mhm.
complete. And then, well, he said, "How much is it if I use my insurance?" $675 copay.
Yep. Because
Is that crazy?
It's like you're interesting you bring this up. Years ago, before this actually become more center focus in the media, my parents would talk about health because they had medical insurance by the post office. My dad worked for the post office, but they paid a lot of pocket stuff that the people who worked for the factories didn't have to pay for. A lot of more. They had more out of pocket cost. So I was talking to the guy who used to own a Connor's drugstore up here. Great, he was a good friend of the family, and I was 12, 13 years old at the time. And I stood there and talked to him. He was standing behind the counter, and he had a raised platform he was sitting on to fulfill prescriptions and stuff. But I asked him why they charge more for people paying out of pocket because he used to think
No,
about it.
they pay less.
Well,
Oh, you mean for
the
insurance?
people,
Oh,
yeah, they say
sorry.
what they got to do is they had to wait for the insurance companies to pay them. So that actually
And then
now
they might not pay.
they might not pay. So he said a lot of times the person who came in and just randomly had to buy something for themselves had to pay a little bit because they had to have money in that store because it wasn't part of a chain.
Right.
It wasn't like Rite Aid or anything else. So he said I have to wait for the insurance companies to pay off any kind of claim for anything like farm prescriptions or whatever. So basically, all it does is shift. And then when you put it in the hands of the federal government, I'm seeing what they're going to possibly do is they're going to say, "Well, we don't like your political views, and we won't cover this unless you back down on your
And
political
people can
views."
say that they don't do that. They do.
They do
They
that.
do.
Well, I know they do.
There's always biases.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, well, and let's face it, we've seen the two-tiered system we've seen during the Trump administration against Trump during the Biden administration, going after Trump and his family members, and they would do, then they backed down and they were very timidly did to pursue the charges against Hunter Biden, which ultimately his dad pardoned. But I mean, yeah, it's like there is punitiveness in all the
But
actions.
getting back to my original question posed, that these Democrats or whatever left leaning people
Mhm.
think that it's great that this CEO was taken out.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
But on the same note that Obama was doing the same thing, but it's okay when one of their own proposes these government regulations on it. It's okay when they're forced to do it by their own.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and I mean, besides, I mean, you can't, I mean, you might can understand why people are angry about denial of coverage. I mean, I heard something about some
Well,
insurance companies.
especially when it's life saving. But that's to get back to my argument that for owies and whatever little stitches and stuff, your insurance you shouldn't be using insurance for
No,
that.
no, I think it should be.
For stitches and just everyday maintenance, you should be paying for it out of your
Yeah, I
pocket.
think, I mean, but and another thing, the way you can encourage it, years ago, before, when we were doing a show from about before the Obamacare Act was pushed through, um, there's a guy came in who locally was part of an insurance group that actually wanted to set up there was a mall out in Grand Blanc that they wanted to establish it as a base of operation, have doctor's offices there and labs, and everybody would be encouraged to. This was a voluntary program. You'd pay so much for a person, individual, and then also for the family each year, and then it allows you to have so many doctor visits and so many like lab blood workups and stuff, significantly lowering it because um, what they gouge you at the labs. They mark it up because they got to pay for. They can't say gouging, but they have to have costs that that got to be covered. So they really have to mark it up. When I was in physiology anatomy class over at Mott, we did a series of our labs. We did a blood workup. We
Yeah,
did a
but what do you?
the point I was going to make is like
Yeah,
a lot of charges the labs are charging is marked up way beyond what it actually costs to perform those tests on blood or on urine. Basically, a lot of it just strips. Like a lot of people who
that
have
you could do at
you could
home,
do at home.
really,
Yeah.
and I think that they're hurting right now because Chat GPT and other AI is taking a bite out of their. You know it is
Oh yeah.
because if I had something wrong that I didn't know what was going on before I called, because I want to. It's better if have some idea what's going on, so you can tell your doctor because that's the only way you're gonna get better treatment, and Chat GPT can answer a lot of the questions that you have about certain things.
Well, and then another thing is too, if you do use Chat GPT and you still ultimately decide to go see your doctor, you sorted through a lot of problems and situations or whatever that you've weeded out the situation quite a bit. You can say, here's what here's what I've been experiencing, and to dismissing the rest if there's an inconsequential, and that way you can focus on that. And doctors in their offices go to the computer
Oh, I can
and
tell
call up
you
stuff.
working in medical
Yeah,
that, yes, doctors and nurses and techs like myself, I would go to Chat GPT. I mean, I'm not giving out
yeah,
health advice to anybody, above my level, but I would tell the nurse or whatever, and then she or he would tell the doctor what was going on. It was a lot better if you could formulate your opinion, and well, it is an opinion, I
right.
guess, in a better manner so you sound more intelligent when you're speaking to doctors and nurses, you know what
Right.
I mean?
Because I mean, I think that another thing is I'm envisioning. I'm going to go a little bit up off this, but I can see actually a person has like frequent. They're getting older. They have a frequent problems and ailments and stuff like that. They can have like port what they call port. You talk to your doctor through like basically you're face to face on like a phone, like FaceTime, and actually have
Telehealth.
telehealth. Okay, actually have like a little cubicle or a little thing
Well,
established
you
right in
do
your
that right
house.
now. I've done FaceTime. The last couple I don't do FaceTime anymore because why?
Yeah.
But so I just call him out. I just talk to my doctor on the phone. I mean, it's the same thing as telehealth. I mean, what difference does it make if you see the person? To me, it makes no difference seeing somebody on a computer screen or not. But we already have what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, but I can see a person who has my brother-in-law.
But you don't always need to take a weight, and you
No,
don't always need blood pressure because
it's not
it may not even have anything to do with your complaint.
right. So
But also ChatGPT can help you formulate. You can tell GPT all your complaints,
right.
and it can help formulate and taking all of your and just making it factual. So when you tell the doctor, you know what I mean,
Right.
and can help you describe better what's going on with you with the doctor.
Yeah, because chat. I mean, a lot of people just don't know how to formulate. The loss of words. They don't know how to put it in doctor jargon. Well, maybe the Chat GPT can put it in medical terms.
Or
So the
you can even
doctors,
print it out and just
right?
take it to
Just
them.
say that's a good. That's what I was going to suggest. Just take and say, here's what Chat GPT or medical
Or I would
GPT
just
or
say this
whatever.
is this
Yeah.
is what I wrote up. It was just a lot easier, so I took my time, and I'm not gonna forget anything. Here you go. You don't have to tell them you got it from
Right.
ChatGPT.
Another thing is too is like I mean we had so many ability now like you could get those things you can put on your fingers monitor your oxygen absorption level you can
Pulse ox.
yeah you can also get EK not EKG but a blood pressure cuff that's automatic you just push a button you put the thing on and it reads it out totally and gives you an audible readout I mean
Yeah.
and I got two or three different I got the old fashioned spigometer whatever the spigiometer or whatever they call it I got one of those I have two different versions of the one that goes on the cuff and the other one goes on the on more up on the upper arm it's got a voice thing. It tells you, after it's done measuring. So I mean, there's a lot of things out there we can use to cut the cost. I mean, down. And another thing is, yeah, I mean, the computerization is actually going to make it easier for people to diagnose their own situations.
I got one for you. I think it's pretty funny. The alphabet crowd is outraged for a non-transgendered actor playing a transgender in the new Squid Games.
Oh
I
god.
mean, they're mad about a man in a wig playing a man in a wig.
I
Is
mean,
that funny?
this is
Yeah, no, it's
it's
meant to be
it's
funny.
funny, but you're
But how can they? They're mad because I mean, to be transgendered, all it takes is you
yeah,
putting on makeup
and so you identify
and
with
it's
it.
an identify. That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
Or you don't even have to put makeup on to identify as a female. It's just if you're gender fluid, you feel like a female today, you feel like a male tomorrow. So
Uh,
why are they upset about it? Because he's not a transgendered in real life.
he hasn't stepped on Pato the ensemble.
It's called
Yeah.
acting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's what it's yeah, it's acting, it's an act.
I mean, they really be upset. Is it Japan where all their 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 old traditions are to have males play females?
Right, females. Well, in Shakespeare's time, they actually had females play a lot of the female roles, in the Shakespearean plays, because
But do you think all this transgendered LTGBQRFGZ stuff is on its way out? I do. I mean, no, we're talking about it right now.
well, see, I think it is. I mean, I think people are okay. You can understand a person being gay and lesbian, maybe don't agree with the lifestyle, don't understand the attraction of the same sex, whatever.
But
But that's a
but
reality.
as a libertarian,
Yeah,
do what you want to do as long as you can't. But when you cross the line and tell me I have to treat you that way if you don't look like a female or you don't look like a male, why do you expect me to treat you like that?
yeah. It's like
It's not right.
so. I guess I guess the only way if we continue with this, you're supposed to run. Somebody's supposed to run up to other people, hand them a script, and here's how I want you to react, and here's what I see
Well, that's
myself
what they
as.
were doing with the
Yeah,
pronouns.
that's
And I never
ridiculous.
understood those because we talked about that before. I can't use a pronoun in your
Right.
presence.
This is yeah. You say John or you say you or
It's
whatever.
improper English.
Right. You don't say sir, ma'am, or whatever.
No,
No.
man, John.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I just
Sir John. Well, I get
Sir John. Yeah, it's
if
like I've
if
been
you were
knighted.
knighted,
Yeah, but I couldn't use
but
it.
the thing is, you can't use any of them. They're meant to talk about you, not to you.
Yeah. Okay. Just guess what? If
So,
you're going to be insistent on this, they have to carry that out. Then they're going to be talking about you
I
quite a
just
bit.
never understood what the purpose of pronouns were.
Well,
I know what they're
yeah,
for
yeah.
in
The
regular
reference. Yeah.
English, but I'm talking about my pronouns are.
You know,
I'm the when Kamala Harris. I'm the female in the blue dress.
yeah. I just
That was so stupid.
well everything she said. I mean,
That whole time was
I was
stupid.
waiting for something semi-intelligible to come through over her lips, but I never have seen or heard that. I mean,
And that these people were backing her like she was
what
something special.
is it?
Yes, special ed. She
Special.
should be on one of the buses that she liked so much.
I mean, yeah,
Looking at her, what were they? Not diagrams. What were they called?
Venn
The
diagram,
Venn
Venn diagram.
diagrams. She could let her have a book of Venn diagrams
Yeah, and she
and
can
just
color
let
them
her
in.
go. Right.
She could color them in on the trip. Okay, I mean, give her crayons though, so there's nothing sharp, so she can sharp, so she can hurt herself.
What do you think about this for the first time? Well, first time buyers fueled Bible sales boom.
It's first time buyers too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first time buyers.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't read. You know that.
I've been hearing this too. I mean, it's really
The demand has went up in the United States, and faith, spiritual faith is going up in the United States. People are more interested in it.
I think a large of a
But do
portion.
you think they always have been, but they're being more vocal with Trump?
Well, yeah, I think so. They
A
feel more
lot of this is
comfortable.
this stuff that people don't. I'm not going to say don't care. That yeah, I guess they don't care anymore if anybody knows that they're white and a Christian.
Well, guess what? I mean, I came to a realization myself. It's like no matter what you do in life, no matter if you are part of a movement or if you're not part of a movement or if you're
Well,
officially part,
well,
they're still not going to like you
but
anyway.
even our church, when we thought we had a good thing going where we were going to actually give people something for a donation.
Right.
And how many, when we went on one of the social media sites, someone started picking it apart about the church, and because unfortunately, government doesn't move that fast
Right.
for everything. Where we were in the process of getting our church our designation from the state
See, that's a yeah, I mean, they say separation of church and state. Well, that's ironic because you have to depend on the state to see if you certify if you're a
They
church.
have to tell you you're a
A church. So,
church.
I mean, I don't think
But
that's
what
what.
I'm just saying, how no matter what you do, no matter what good you try to do, there's always going to be those detractors and those people who are going to pick it apart. That's what I was trying to say when we were trying to get help with the roof.
Yeah, that's
Well,
that.
we still are, but
Yeah,
it's
because
just not worth it to go on social media
no,
and
it's
ask.
not because I mean they just trash it. I mean they were like asking very. I mean there was I can't say
And we were, yeah, they hunted us down, acting like we were trying to steal. We were only asking for $5,
yeah
and plus we were going to give you something of $2 back in value. So actually, we were only going to get $3 off the deal, and then if we had to mail it, it was going to be so maybe a dollar something is what we would actually collected with all the fees and everything
no,
for
we're not
doing
good
it
business
online.
people.
No,
We're terrible business
no, we've
people.
never been good at asking for money.
And it's like, no, I think that, I just think that there's a lot of stuff. I mean, what I'm seeing though with the Trump coming back into office, I see that people are coming around and saying they're basically throwing caution to the wind. And let's face it, even like I said, Justine Bateman, she was big in Family Ties. She's an actress. She's been a Hollywood elite for not elite, but sec for years and years. She actually said she felt relieved when she saw Trump get elected because now
I
people can
think a lot
actually
of
First
Democrats
Amendment.
won't admit it, but they're happy with Trump.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people who consider some Democrats voted because there's no way you can look if you're even a socially progressive, you can't look at Kamala Harris and say, "I expect you to take her seriously and vote for her," because she nothing
She's
she
a
did or lended
woman,
herself.
but she's a woman and she's black.
And well, she's
Well,
a person of color.
she says that she's black. Yeah, they finally, I guess, towards the end, they just say that she's a person of color.
I mean,
But
so
that's good enough for a black person to vote
well,
for.
see, I guess, or they always want to criticize Trump for being orange. So I guess they don't like that kind of color.
That that I mean, he's been orange forever. I
He's
don't think
orange man.
I don't think he really cares what people think he looks like.
If I had his money and then I can't get over the man. I mean, yeah, I've never been on board for politicians. He's not a politician for one thing, but I mean, he is like came back. He's persisted. A lot of those people. Look at Richard Nixon when he did not get elected back in the '60s. I wasn't around, but I heard he said they're not going to have Richard Nixon to kick around anymore. He's like all pissed off and hurt,
Well, I mean,
rejected.
but he did it. He did a good thing because he could have drugged us through with Chicago.
Yeah,
He could have drugged that out and just made it a mess if he wanted to with the recount and investigations. It could have went on and we wouldn't have known. Just like with Bushy Jr. until like December.
yeah. Just and I guess on a human level, and I have a hard
Uh,
time admitting it, but when
He
you're a
was the big.
candidate,
I'm saying he was the bigger man. He
yeah,
might have been angry,
yeah, but I was gonna say it would take a. I mean, it would take a lot to go put yourself out there and then get ultimately this you consider rejection,
but
being rejected.
he could have proved the cheating that went on in Chicago
Yeah, he could have, but
with Daley,
yeah, but
but he let it go.
because see again, he was a conservative. The conservatives care more about the society. They were willing to take a personal hit or a personal loss and just somewhat roll with the experience than a leftist would. Their leftists would divide the country over something they found.
But he could have
Yeah,
divided the country back then, and it could have ruined our or at least changed our election system earlier
yeah,
rather than now.
right. I remember back in the '80s, there was like John Mellencamp was one of the people saying, if you can do it, have watch porn by, like, basically the about phone hots and lines, sex lines were popular back when he said this. He said, if you can, have sex by, phone, why can't you vote by phone? And they were kicking that idea back, and just it was like largely dismissed. But I'm glad too.
Well, I can't. There's no way you can trust the system.
No, no, I don't think there is. I mean, I don't see. Another thing is too, if you have to make the day the vote, national election day for the presidential election a holiday where they get time off, then so be it. But I mean, we've done this for years without having that being concerned. So I don't know why we have to change that. I don't. But we guess if we have to, we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have where actual votes are counted. You have to present ID to vote than what we currently have. Anything else here?
I
Um,
was hoping you keep talking.
anyway, we're just I think we're just seeing a kind of a sigh of relief collectively across the country except for the leftists. And if you're listening, I'm sorry. I barely contain myself on that one. Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. You got your person lost. Okay, we're gonna run this thing
But
for
the
three and a half
but
years.
but what's stupid is they still try to push their bullshit on us, even though okay, your person law, we didn't win, but you still have to do what we say.
Right.
That's the way they act.
So
And they
basically,
get upset when we say no.
they can't see. They think themselves as being these so elevated, so noble, so enlightened, and you possibly you just got to listen to them because there's so much more enlightened. They've looked at world better than you will ever be able to examine it. I mean, it's just the sheer arrogance the left has. And a lot of right wingers or something like that, I guess, but I see it from the left more. Being
But I see it falling apart even with this Daniel Penny found not
oh,
guilty.
yeah, the Marine that
Their whole bullshit's falling apart. People can see they're going that they probably thought it was a slam dunk that they were going to put this guy and he did the right thing by all accounts.
right. So you think, and as much as I dislike police officers, a lot of times they do the right thing and they get
I
vilified for it.
mean,
I mean, but
and they don't even say the people that he was protecting, they were black.
yeah, and then
It was
even
a there were black females on the train.
they even said
Well,
the
not train,
subway,
but
yeah,
subway.
yeah.
He didn't even think about it. He just went into action and he did the right thing or what he thought. And everyone else, and a regular person would think it would be the right thing to do. But the person that was killed, I forget what his name is, but his father is all upset about the decision. Like Penny should be burned in hell for what he did to his son. I think what he's really upset is he lost out on a payday.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Because if he would have got him criminally, then he would have went after him civilly.
And the thing is, I hate to say this, but there's still a chance that some lawyer,
No, there's not.
there isn't.
He can't be. No,
Okay,
the
that's good.
decision's done.
So you can't criminally.
No, it was a trial. It was a jury that said not guilty.
And I remember that one of the witnesses said that the suspect, the guy that Penny took
Well,
down,
from
he said basically he said he did utter somebody's going to die or something like that. Well,
the yeah,
the
Neely, I guess his
Neely,
name
yeah,
was.
Neely is, yep.
But what they're saying is the holdouts. Everybody thought the holdouts were the holdouts were people that wanted him not guilty, and the rest of the people wanted him guilty. It was the other way around. The majority wanted a not guilty, where a couple of people wanted a guilty.
Because I think the average person would be sitting on a jury would say, if there's their happiness, say my sister, my mom, somebody else in my family, or my kid, or whatever, was around this individual and he's going off, he's threatening people, acting menacingly. I'd want somebody to step in and intervene to prevent harm done to my family member. I don't care if it's white, green, purple. I mean, they'd want there's somebody step in their family member being protected, possibly. I mean, I don't think what he did is he didn't. You pull a gun.
The guy didn't. No, but if you think about it, if you listen to the trial and just paid a little bit of attention to it, you know that he didn't kill him because he was alive
Right.
when they took him away. He died later, and it's because of drugs in his system and poor health. I mean,
And
you
then the
should,
stress,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, and it's like you can't overlook the fact that somebody's going to be teetered on the brink of death. Don't,
And the other thing that I can't understand is why everyone's up in arms because Trump wants to pardon the January Sixers, and they're taking it out of context. They're saying Trump wants to pardon all January Sixers, and in all actuality, what he says is that he's going to have to look at each case individually.
right. I mean, somebody did take out somebody's Nancy Pelosi's laptop or had it or something. That's theft. I mean, I don't know if
If
that
they
could be
took it out
if
of
they
the
took it
house,
right.
but the one guy, and I know he just got in trouble because he put his feet up on her desk,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
I don't know.
if
The
they
whole thing is stupid. When you want, and that's another thing. If you presented it to a regular person and they watched that whole thing, they would say these people, the police took them there. They
yeah,
opened all the
it's like
doors
it looked like
for
a
them.
tour. It looked
These
like a tour to
people
me.
weren't. They were just dum dums, just walking through the aisles and looking at stuff.
Yeah, I remember a congressperson who was in office at that point said he was traumatized by it. I'm glad you're no longer in office there, sir, so you can recover. Go see a therapist.
And then another thing, they're all getting their panties in a bunch is that Trump is doing what every other president has done in the past, replacing people with his people.
That's what you expected.
If he wants the FBI director to step down, you know Joe Biden. The only reason he kept him is because he undermined Trump during the Trump administration.
We can't overlook. I mean, we can't overlook the fact that they're in DC. All those agencies are in DC. So is the
I mean,
congressmen,
that'd be the
senators,
smartest thing you would do if you came into okay, if you came into a business that you know was poorly run.
right?
Would you keep all the
No,
the heads?
no, no, no. See, the
I
thing
mean,
is,
wouldn't you at least look at them and decide if you're going to get rid of them or not?
see, quite frankly, I don't think these changes go far enough. I mean, I think there are people in the office staff who don't have a title or a significant title are probably more of a problem than the people
But it's
we
just
know.
crazy how entrenched the media is.
You're right.
That the world's going to fall apart if Vivek and Elon Musk, two nasty billionaires
Right.
who have uh, years of experience of doing what they want to do, they've run successful businesses. They should know if what's wrong.
Oh, we got a chat. We got a comment coming into this here. Just let's take a
Okay,
look.
but what I'm saying is they have successful businesses. Okay, just keep talking.
Yeah, no, I just think that I think that the Musk is like a phenomenal individual for being successful, and these politicians wouldn't think twice about if he was already in public limelight in support of Trump. I'm talking about Elon Musk. They would be coming forward and asking for money from these people, and they would take their filthy money, but now they're not good enough to actually have a role in this administration.
No, do you think it's such a bad thing that they act like that Twitter was I don't know what's the word I'm using. That it was so great before. I never even went on Twitter. A lot of the people that didn't go to Twitter because it was the way it was.
Do you think
That,
that
that it was just a leftist echo chamber.
That's what I always thought. I mean, I wasn't interested until after I saw that there was a move for, and that's why I think I created an account. I mean, as after I knew that Musk was going
I
to
mean, I
did it.
look at it just the reason I have Twitter is because you can see what's going on. You can get a glimpse of what's going on if you look in the trending area.
Mhm.
It's just one of the places that I check to see what's going on. I don't actually care who I'm subscribed to. There's nobody that I don't look to one person to get my information from.
I don't.
So it doesn't matter who I subscribe to. It was a game at first trying to get subscribers, but I don't care anymore. Like I said, it's just a place to look and see what's going on.
Right. And I just think that a lot of people look at it's basically, I think that those kind of place social media sites or expansion of those like the Twitter or X, where it's called now, I think it basically be people just read it to see, just like, the thumb in the air to see which way the wind's blowing a little bit. They can't, they're not reading research that researchers like Pew or whatever. They're saying, well, this is what so many people are saying on this forum. So I think it's a good thing. It actually gives you more of a minute by minute pulse on the country than these published some findings, by corporations and everything else. They're partisan. They're very partisan.
Did anything that Moss talked about today that you think was something worth discussing?
Well, we did talk cover about he did cover, and I joined in about universities and college campuses and basically the decay and the
Decay and the what's the word where um, diluted that the education because they're looking at it like a business and they want to make money
right.
and they don't care how many people they screw in the process
Yeah.
rather than have a quality degree. I mean, think about some of these stupid degrees. I mean, when they came up with uh, what is it when you just get a degree in nothing for 2 years? It's a
Oh, you talking about
something.
my degree? No,
No, a
no.
2 year degree from a community college is something science.
Oh yeah, like something in science, like
No, I'm just saying it's just a degree that says you went to community college, you took all the
with the
prereqs.
prereq, so you can go to
Yeah.
the university. Yeah, and that's what I did. I mean, I did it. I mean, it's cheaper than going
But
to
a lot of people don't stop there. They
right,
just get that degree in nothing in college and hope in community college
right,
or a college for 2 year degree, an associate's degree, and hopefully they didn't pay any money out of their own pocket.
right.
But I can see people that would get in debt for $20,000, $30,000 for an associate degree.
Yeah, and the prices have gone up. Unfortunately, when I went through
Not political science.
political, yeah,
Is that what it?
I think political science is kind of a blow off degree. I think I hate to say this, communications degree. I mean,
But
that's not
not everybody has to go to college
no
because when you and I were growing up, there were like I don't, for lack of better terminology, there was like a track. There's business,
right,
and there was you were asked. They asked me if I wanted to go to college. I said no. Okay, then you just take business math and everything, which is just like pre-algebra, and that's it, and then the regular English and everything.
So when I was in high school, I didn't know I planned on going to college at all. So I mean, they put me in I had 2-hour welding class for 2 years, so how to do welding and like skilled trades, I guess it would have been. And of course, those are directly
Yeah, but
definition
could you
back then.
imagine if you would have gotten into welding at that age and where you would be right now?
Yeah, but the thing is if
You
the
mean,
factories are closing
you,
up at that point, so what we've
yeah,
been
but still, you could have got somewhere.
yeah,
There were people that made money in welding even with the
oh yeah, oh
factories
yeah.
closing. There was always ironworks. There's Richfield Ironworks right at the corner by my
You
house.
definitely you can still make it. I mean, it's a practical thing
But
to
I'm
go
just
into.
saying, if you would have continued with welding,
Yeah, you
you'd
could have made
probably
a
have
good
a
money.
big
It could
old
make good
house
money,
somewhere right now.
right? So I mean, it's like it's one of you. I just never drifted into that
But that's
degree.
what they did. That's another thing. They made kids start looking down on the janitor or the
Oh, they
guy or the
definitely.
garbage man or the postman or like their jobs. That beneath you should be going for something really good.
Yeah, the college they would say, "You don't wanna be a garbage man, I want to make some more money than you do." It's like Mr. Moss talks about this when he started teaching at Beecher School when he came up in the '60s, and he was trying to he really loves education. If you ever get a chance to watch him, you can see his
What's going
enthusiasm.
on with
It was
George
George
Moss
Moss.
on Rumble?
Yeah, Rumble, but
All Points TV.
but he was like he was saying to people, "You gotta learn this. You really wanna encourage you to learn," and they said, "Mr. Moss, no offense, but we don't even need a high school diploma. We can go get the job here at the factory making twice of what you're doing as a teacher." And he was
I
right. He was
probably
right.
well, but it was you had to know somebody
Right.
or have to be a family member when it was our turn to
Yeah.
get in the factory.
Yeah,
The
you
jobs weren't as plentiful in the early '80s.
no, they were like a large portion of them were gone. A lot of them, going because they couldn't fill
Nepotism
plants.
and
It's yeah, the union connections and the nepotism and stuff, which ironically the unions are set up to to stop some kind of like sense
no,
of
because what
privilege,
they would
and
have
they did have
is with the nepo babies, what they would do is go get an internship
right,
and make good money
right.
with that internship not really doing anything, and they would like evaluate them and then put them into where they thought they should go.
Because I knew several people I know that didn't have they really
The
didn't want to go into
connections.
they had connections, but they didn't have the ability to do the job they were assigned to in the factory. But because their dads and their granddads had been in part of it, they got the job. They stayed in with it a few years and then ultimately got hurt doing the job because they put a wispy woman in charge of putting on a hoods of bigger cars, and that blew her back out because the family always had problems with back problems. So I mean, yeah, she got the job and she made it for like 10, 15, 10, 12 years before she had to be mustered out because of that.
What do you think of number 17?
Okay, which was that? Okay. Oh, the PBS promotes pro pedophilia pioneer. Oh, pro pedophilia advocate rising questions about the network's
Is
content
that
choices.
crazy?
Oh, well, actually, no, it isn't. I mean,
No, I mean for a sane person. I'm not talking about an
there's somebody who listens to
executive at
PBS.
PBS.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Why would you want to promote that? I mean, other than try to make it the norm.
that's what that exactly. That's there is no other reason to do that and trying to make they're trying to say what they call minor attracted members
Maps.
and maps. Yeah.
I'm not a maps.
But I think it's like it's I don't know. I mean, at some point, we're all this like if somebody's being oppressed. There's a reason why some people are being repressed or suppressed. I mean, there's not. It's not just being punitive. It's not being just you know,
No,
um,
because it's
it's
disgusting
disgusting. Yeah.
and it's not the norm and it should never be accepted.
Well, they say, well, who are you to judge? Well, then
Who
who
am
are you
I?
to counter that? How are you to assert that
Well,
you
I
have a
mean,
right? I
we
mean,
do have a book
yeah,
that we go by.
I go by, but
By a higher
yeah.
person.
Yeah, I go from a transcendent morality, and you know what? I don't think that I'm not the God I would like that says it's okay to have sex with little children.
No.
Minor attracted, okay, you're a sick bastard. Okay, don't go no anywhere near my kid or anybody
And
else.
we don't need you guys to go digging through the Bible to bring up some obscure passage and try to say that it represents some kind of
I yeah.
weird, screwed up thought that you have.
Well, they're going to say like I know they're going to say like, well, Mary was young too, and all they always started young because
Oh,
their
my
lifespans are
grandmother was
younger.
14 years old, married to a 27-year-old man.
Right.
Is that bad?
That was the way it went. I mean, that's the way it was. I mean, I don't see how now people are delaying into the 30s
We're
and
talking
40s to
in
have
the
kids.
1920s.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's because okay, again, the lifespan. What was the average lifespan expectation?
Probably 50,
50. So
50
so
something,
you
maybe.
you produce the offspring for the future generation. If you live to be older, like, that's grand.
And
It's
she
wonderful.
was in her family, there was 14 children.
I mean, basically, you had to have you had a large numbers because a lot of kids would die. Infant mortality rate was extremely high in the founding of this country time, and right up to the 1930s. I mean, the elimination of the creation of indoor bathrooms and running water in households increased a child's be able to survive significantly. Just like dental work is like actually added 2 years to our lifespans. So I mean, those two factors probably
But
there added
don't
30
you, I'm
years to
bringing
them.
up dental work. Isn't it funny how, as far as insurance goes, that it hasn't kept up?
No,
Do you think maybe because the dentists don't want to really get involved with all that BS?
I don't think people. I think a lot of the insurers know that people are willing to. They don't see it as that crucial, so they don't try to sell the
It's
process. Yeah, yeah,
You have to be able to eat to
right,
stay healthy. It would seem like dental would be number one.
right.
Dental and vision,
Well,
two of the most important things. If you can't eat and you can't see,
well, Mark Vonnegut, Kurt Vonnegut's son, he's a doctor in like a medical doctor, and he said he thinks the advancements in dental work and stuff like that kept us, increased our lifespan significantly. So he was a medical doctor saying the significance of dental work being done, and it's true. I mean, my great grandmother lost 2 children
and the same thing
because of
with
teething problems.
chiropractors.
Yeah.
They look down on that. Would I know it helped my mom?
Yeah, I mean, it's like basically you got a nerve. I mean, they say that something the weight of a dime can impair nerve function 70%. The weight of a dime. Okay, so if you got some like a vertebrae touch up
Right.
against the nerve, you're going to have some malfunctioning going on. Why not just remove the pressure and you're going back? What's good to give in pills that can be
Nothing.
addictive?
And for me, I can't. Most of the things I take either make me sick or dizzy. The pain medication
Right. It's like
that I can't take it.
and blood pressure issues and stuff come up. And but like one doctor, a psychiatrist said, you got a pebble in your shoe. You like try to get creative and create a thing that'll get cushion your thing. No, you just
Do you
kick the
take the pebble
pebble
out,
out of the shoe.
or
Yeah.
do you take medication for the pain?
Right, exactly. You remove the shoe. You just take off the shoe and pour the little piece of gravel out and put your shoe back on, and no problem. I mean, that's as simple as that.
But they can't make money from it.
No, no, because it's like, well,
And most of the procedures that a chiropractor does in his office aren't procedures that equal money for an insurance
or
company.
for a pharmacy company, a pharmaceutical company, or for anybody else. I
No,
mean,
because you're going there, and they could take you off medication.
right. I mean, a lot of times, if you have another thing is you do have a bad back or a bad shoulder or whatever, that elevates blood pressure. Any sense of pain elevates your blood pressure.
But
If you remove that problem, then you got that
but
blood
that
pressure
just tells
diminishes.
you insurance companies are in business to make money.
Right.
They're not in business to make you healthy,
No, exactly. Well, let's face it. The perception that you need health insurance, especially as you get older,
which is stupid.
it's like it pumps up. They can offer any kind of product, and you have to get it because you think you're needing
And
it.
this is like an extended warranty on a car
Right.
or whatever because they never pay off.
And it just
No, the insurance companies just want your money.
that's all it is. And let's face it, between them and the government. And let's face it, there is a government connection. I mean, the government made it mandatory for you to have car insurance and homeowners insurance, especially, and you're paying off on a mortgage.
But I had insurance, and because I don't go to I only go to the doctor when I have to or
Right,
whatever, when I have a reason to go to a doctor. I just don't go just to go.
right.
And when I used my insurance, and they wanted to charge me hundreds of dollars for just I just seen the doctor, had my blood pressure checked, and we had like a 10-minute discussion, and they prescribed me some medication, and I walked out. That visit was $225, and then when I called the insurance company, so why? Well, because you don't go to the doctor enough. If you go to the more you go to the doctor, the cheaper it will be. How does that make sense?
That doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. I guess the
But
expression.
they said that if I would go more, it would get cheaper. But how's it going to get cheaper? I'm still going to have to pay 225 or whatever. Maybe it'll be less. It's stupid.
If anybody's listening is in the medical insurance company or a doctor's office, let us know how that works
I don't
out.
care because don't need insurance now. I'm 100% covered through the VA,
Yeah,
even though the VA,
there's issues
I
there, but
personally think the VA sucks, but
it's a general consensus. I mean, I've heard my sister and brother.
I work there,
Yeah,
so I've got an inside view
yeah.
and an outside, and I've been on the medical side, and I've also been a patient.
You should be
So
acting the role as a
I got
provider. Yeah,
got the whole 360, and I can honestly say the VA sucks.
Well, another thing is you made a good valid point, and I think a lot of people would agree with this. Is basically cut out the VAs, just allow any
Yeah,
veteran to go
well,
anywhere you want
like
to. You know,
my argument is that there are 3 VA hospitals in a 100-mile radius.
right?
Why not just have either Saginaw in Ann Arbor or Saginaw in Detroit? Why do we need 3 VAs?
That's quite a bit of money. They set up just for veterans. I mean, they're not talking piggyback operations.
I would rather go. I mean, when I first retired, I went go through this rant all the time. When I first retired from the army in 2000 and something, I could go on the economy, I guess, and see a civilian doctor,
Mhm.
or I could go and it was called Space A or Space Available. I could go set at the VA to be seen because I wasn't. Well, I was 100% covered, but of course the VA didn't tell me. I found out by accident that I was 100% covered for being a Gulf War veteran.
Mhm.
But of course, they don't send you a letter and say, "Hey,
You got this.
you're 100% covered. You're VA through VA." But they didn't tell me that. I found out by accident. But anyways, what I'm saying is, I had my own doctor in Lapeer, Michigan, which wasn't too far. Nice guy and everything. I trusted him. I liked going there. And then what happened is we went. Humana came. They privatized our insurance,
Mhm.
and when they privatized it, I can no longer go see that doctor.
'Cause it-
And then, oh, by the way, we're gonna start charging you for the insurance that we promised you that you would have for you and your family.
Yeah,
And they but now these younger people, they don't realize what they've lost because they never had it.
right.
Government sucks. And the military is the first. They're like the frog in the boiling water. We're the first ones that feel the effects.
Right.
Like the guinea pig that they take away from us first, and then they start taking away from everybody else.
Then they find a ways of giving money to other countries and people in other countries, and we
Well,
have to
it's
be
another thing that North Carolina is still not taken care of,
right.
and we discussed that prior. Part of it is big business doesn't want the National Guard and engineers that are fully capable to come in and build roads because we do it overseas all the time for foreign countries. We
Right.
rebuild their roads and everything. Oh no, they don't want them to do it because the private contractor can't make money from that.
I don't see how they
So
could.
these poor people have to suffer until Trump comes in because Vance. I don't know if you've seen a couple days ago. He hit the ground and he did a tour and he talked to people and said 45 days from that day, whatever it was. So what is it, like 40 days now?
Yeah.
That help is on the way. But why should they have to wait for the help?
Yeah, we're sending stuff as we go. I mean, right now, I mean, it's a broadening sphere of like battlefields in other countries. We're sending monies to them. We don't give, and it's this.
The money should just automatically it should be in there. That if we have a national emergency or whatever, s- they can wait, and that money is directed towards FEMA.
Yeah, I'd like to know why the hell are like on the lower priority? Why are we lower priority than uh, any place? I mean, everybody else
But
gets more first
Ukraine. How long have we been here in Ukraine?
I know.
For 3 years?
Yeah, and where's that gained us? What has it got? What
Nothing.
is it?
Because we're not going to get anything. Even if Ukraine became a power, what would we get from it? Nothing. Because
Well,
they don't promise to pay anything back.
no, and another thing is we're going to probably be instrumental rebuilding the
Oh,
damn
and the
country.
same thing with Syria right now. Lindsey Graham is beating his chest again, saying that we need boots on the ground.
Well, when did he go in there?
I don't.
The pink
The
petticoat.
the pink petticoat brigade.
Yeah,
Lindsey Graham on the way.
I mean, his arrogance when he talked about
No.
the people in North Carolina. He lives in South Carolina, or he's from South Carolina. He just, but our friends in Israel are actually facing people trying to kill them. Well, gee, a hurricane just killed a bunch of people here in North Carolina. You idiot!
Yeah, Mr. Fancy Pants. I'd like to get rid of Mr. Fancy Pants and the suspenders from Louisiana.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, they're so great." No, they're not.
How do you like that Holly guy? Do Holly or
He
Holly?
seems okay.
I think he's more intelligent than the old John Kennedy tried to sound so folksy.
And catch you in a lie. Yeah, you're the ABC 1, 2, 3 that I'm supposed to have oversight on. I'm supposed to know what you're doing, but I'm going to pretend when you come to talk to me that I don't know have any idea. like you've been a spoiled child, just out on your own, doing whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, it's like, and it's like you guys are the one. You guys have oversight of them. You're the ones who actually points these people who are in those roles. Don't act like you're totally detached from it, especially if you've been there for more than a couple of years.
Oh, what, he must have been there for at least 10 years.
Yeah, that's. I think I've heard about 4 or 5 years ago. Somebody mentioned his name. I don't know who the guy was, so I looked him up. I mean, he just sounds like some corn pone. You don't. If you don't like the police just for being a police, well, next time call a crackhead. Well, gee, I haven't heard that one before, there, Mister Kennedy.
And you don't call the police for help
No,
because I'm sorry,
they're not going to
they're
do.
not there to help. There's not enough of them
We,
on the road
no, I
that they
mean,
can go and they can help everybody that needs help. They
it's,
have to prioritize to go to help.
another thing is too. I mean,
And-
it's like I don't expect them to help anyway because
But by the time you're in a situation where you need it, it's too late.
yeah, it's like if there's somebody's crashing through your door at 3 a.m., call and say a police officer. It's the aftermath they're coming for. They're not going to
No,
help
they're
you
there.
stop.
They're coming to take a report. And
Right.
then by God, how many times do you see that people call the police and the police end up hurting
Yeah,
them or arresting
because they
them?
don't know the person's supposed to be at the house. The people are
No,
supposed to
they
be at the
don't know
house.
the situation. I understand it in a way
Right.
because I've been in those situations where I'm coming up on a scene. I mean, when I was in the military,
Right.
trying to figure out what's going
Yeah,
on
but
and who's the bad guy and who's the good guy.
right, exactly. I mean, the best thing to do if you're the one calling and they'll tell you this in self-defense and stuff is say you had a
Stay
break-in.
on the phone.
Stay on the phone and tell the dispatcher what you're currently wearing, how your appearance,
Where you
where
are.
you're at in the house, and if they say put the firearm down if you come to the door, then do that. But yeah, to make sure you know what you're. If you're in pajamas, tell me your pajamas. If you're in a robe, tell me you're in a robe. I'm talking about the home case scenario, but yeah, always try
I
to.
mean, you got to understand that they're coming up cold.
Right.
They don't know.
You
I
see,
mean, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
that I am too. I mean, you roll up, you see somebody with a gun. You don't know if that's a good guy or the bad guy. You don't. I mean, it's simple as that. I can understand that kind of scenario
And
where they're
then plus
intense.
the people have a lot of adrenaline going,
Yeah.
and they think that they may not even realize they have a gun in their hand when they're coming out and they're talking to
Right.
the police.
So I mean, just basically listen to dispatcher. They should be able to give you some kind of directions and follow them as best as possible, and try to check yourself back into the reality. Say what can I do to make the situation less intense? And do that. But I mean, and then you never know how you're going to react. You think you can handle it. A lot of times you've prepared. When
No,
it
because
comes,
I've been in situations and people ask me, "How did you do that?" And I have no idea what I even did.
well, my friend one time was telling his friend, say, like, when somebody like a situation comes up, like somebody pulls a gun, you don't know what you're going to react to, and they kind of laughed at him. Well, just no sooner, and he said that a couple of hours
Because it
later.
doesn't seem real, for
Yeah,
one thing.
but
It's like you're disembodied from what's going on
right. So
in that situation.
well, 2 hours later, some guy pulled up and pulled a gun. They're sitting on a porch of somebody. They weren't trying to cause problems to somebody or anybody else. This guy pulls a gun on him. He said, "You should see all these people tripping over their own feet trying to get out of the way of this guy with a gun." There was so chaos, and they're like, they did everything they just got done talking about 2 hours before. It was like gone out by through the window. They didn't respond.
But I
Like they
mean,
said
that's
they were.
the right response to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to
Get the hell out of
get
there.
out of there.
Right. I mean, I mean, let's face it. The military taught you if you get the hell out of there without shooting, you took the chance to get out of there. You took the time to get out. You took the opportunity to get out of there. I mean, no, I mean, you don't know how you're going to react, and I can't say, I can't fault anybody reacting the way they do. You don't know the situation.
But they called the police, and that's what happened. When the
Right.
police came, and the best bet is I don't know. Like I said, in a situation you don't know what you
It's a crapshoot. It just put it politely, it's a crapshoot. I know some people are going to be offended by crap, but I mean, you don't know which way
I think it's craps, isn't it?
craps or a crapshoot. Yeah, craps. It's like rolling a
I don't
dice.
think it's the word crap. I think it's
craps.
craps.
Yeah, but still sounds like plural crap. What is the plural crap? Crapses or shitses or
Crapses?
yeah, crapses or yeah. We'll have some
No, shits
gravitation.
is a derogatory term for a white non-Jew female.
Oh yeah, shit Scott. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's like we're go deep. You're talking about linguistics. Anyway, anybody weigh on that? But no, another thing is to the situation
Well,
going in Syria. I mean,
well, the people coming in. Okay, if you think about Syria, it's Israel against Russia.
mhm,
The people coming in are Israeli backed.
right,
The people in right now
Russia,
are Russian backed,
right,
and they're both going after. Israel wants it so they can surround Libya,
right.
and Russia wants it because it's a port.
And basically, there's no chance of saying this is going to be a proxy war at some point. for the
No.
United States. The United States is going to have to
Either way,
face
it's not
Russia.
going to end well.
No,
I mean, either way, we're going to end up paying somehow because Israel's involved.
no. Okay, you're in the military. Would you say that Netanyahu as well with his rights to push that far into it and take over,
It,
invade?
if we were disinterested and not involved, who cares what? I mean, I guess on a moral
Yeah.
basis, you might care, but I mean, why should we care? I mean, it's not our problem. That's what I don't get about why we're always all in behind Israel. Why a foreign minister gets to come and talk, even though the president's not there or the vice president in some instances, he's still on the floor of our Senate talking to our people about how we should defend Israel. How does he get to do that when you don't see the prime minister from Canada or Mexico talking on the House floor, do you?
No,
Why is Israel so important? I still don't understand.
I don't understand. I mean, strategically, they're not going to be in the position to try to help us out. They're not. Now, as a matter of fact, we're putting ourselves into more conflicts because their existence and our undying support of them. I mean, I don't. And then they say, I have people criticize me because I don't understand the Bible. I think I do understand the Bible. I don't think it's sacrificing your
Understand the
children.
New Testament as
Testament.
opposed
Yeah.
to the Old
Well,
Testament.
well,
A lot changed between the two.
well, it's a new covenant, but I mean, I'm just looking at rationally as a strategic position. Israel can't offer us any help. They can't. They can't. I mean, they don't have a navy that a significant sized navy with aircraft carriers that I'm aware of. Maybe one. I think they have one.
I mean, you just look at this one, for example, right there about how.
Oh, debating Israel's leadership and the claim of divine entitlement to land. I mean, yeah, I mean, you got to go back and
But
there's
the type of people that they are.
yeah, the Ashkenazi Jews. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they're Europeans,
They're fair haired, freckle faced,
right?
blonde hair. They're not even Semitic.
Well, they might have a tiny trace, but then again, the rest of the population might have. I mean, one guy, Stephen Anderson, he was a pastor, now discredited because of a family situation. He beat his kids and stuff, and it was in the news. But he actually makes a point. He always said he was critical of Israel. People said, "What happened? You find you're a Jew?" So he went and had DNA testing. He's 30%
difference
Jewish.
does it make?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And that's what Scripture teaches. It says it doesn't make it's you're good. Don't follow endless genealogy. It says that in the New Testament. What are these people doing? Well, they're special. They're God's chosen. Well, I don't see
Who
that
made
anymore.
them that?
Well,
They
well,
made themselves that.
well, they okay when they had the initial contact with God, in a religious sense, I could say I can understand that. But they kept on violating the terms of agreement, and there was all conditional. If you do this, you be my people. If you do that, they didn't meet it. I mean,
Oh, and then they spend most Jews they can't even do what is it called sundowns over the
the
week.
Sabbath. Yeah,
They can't. They do trickery and cheats to get around
yeah.
the
They try to.
Sabbath.
They find
Things that they. If I don't touch the refrigerator and it comes on by accident, then it's not my fault.
and look, they created the wire around
Oh,
the
just
city
all the
so they
little
can
tricks they do. That's why they're good at being lawyers.
right. And it's like I mean,
They lie and cheat with their own religion.
and it's like, yeah, I mean, and they do. I mean, they're trying to find loopholes. I mean, if you have a belief this is all going to please to God, why would you want to find loopholes?
No, especially because they can.
Right.
Like you use the one where if you dress as a different person and go to a different town and you cheat on your wife, it's okay.
Yeah, because nobody knows you there. I mean, it's still the same. You're still the same person violating this trust that you have with this other person, but that's okay because nobody there can label you because they don't know your story.
But do
That's
you think there's going to come a day where I mean, because I never thought there would come a day that we would be rid of this transgenderism and
right.
these pronouns and all these different things. Do you think there's going to be a day when Christians are going to wake up and they're going to realize that they're the chosen people
But
and this stuff that we've been fed that we got a made up country?
it's going to be awfully hard. That's actually be harder to do than the other.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
when these old people die off, like the like in our political realm, when Lindsey Graham's gone, when Mitch McConnell's gone, all these old entrenched people are gone, and there's new leadership, and grows up, and they're in those positions of power. Don't you think the people that think like us, once they get in those positions, that things will change?
Yeah, I think. Unfortunately, I think the only time it's going to change is when we're going to be involved with boots on the green and to fight for Israel, and that means you're going to be
But my
loss of life.
argument is people aren't going to be that easy to send their kids to war.
Well, they're getting
Y-
more reluctant now.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying if there were a draft tomorrow, I'm sure that there would be moms and dads who say, you're not going to go fight for oil. You're not going to. I wouldn't, if I knew now what I was going for the Persian Gulf,
Mhm.
this, it was, that was all for baby Bush
Right.
and Cheney.
And it shows they can make billions of
It
dollars
was
there.
all a lie.
Right. I mean, I was screaming at when I and I like Colin Powell. Colin Powell.
Oh,
He was
I'm
making
sorry. He's a good man that got sucked in it.
well, he was. I mean, let's face it, he was a career person. He was set into that. I'm sure he
He
didn't
was a
have your
great
history.
general. I mean, one of the most. I hated going to parades and different things, but he was a speaker at one of the events that I went to that I had to go
Yeah.
stand on the field and be a dum dum with a weapon or whatever at my side. I actually enjoyed what the man. He was a great speaker.
Yeah, he was, but I mean, he was set up, and he misled the American people. Got to behest of of
They
his
lied to
superiors.
him,
They lied
and
to
he
him,
repeated the lie.
right? Because let's face it, you got to some degree as a military person, you got to trust the people
And
you're
I can
working for.
understand now, in retrospect, why he was so upset with Baby Bush
Yeah.
because Baby Bush screwed him over and almost screwed up his whole legacy. And he was trying the rest of his life to dig himself out of that hole that they put him in.
Well, another thing is, I'm going to ask you, and you can pass, or maybe we'll hold off for another, episode. But if you had children, say it's a son who's like right now 15, 16 years old in high school, and looking at maybe thinking about military as a career, would you discourage them, or would you be behind that, or
Depending on what they would go for.
yeah,
I wouldn't let him go into infantry or be airborne or anything like that.
make officer candidate school or something like that, or
If he was smart enough. And
yeah,
well, you don't. I'm to be honest, you don't have to be a
Heck,
brainiac to be an officer in the military, and just unless you want to move up. But if you just want to like go in for and retire as or not retire, but get out as a captain or whatever or major,
because I mean, I remember also.
it was a good for me. It was a good time.
Yeah, the thing is, like, and let's face it, you went far in life doing that. You did. You saw the world, literally.
Yeah, but
Um,
I couldn't do anything. I was behind walls
yeah,
everywhere I went. I wasn't allowed to go do anything anywhere I went.
yeah. I had a friend that she was like this. She wasn't in the military, but they sent her to African nations to do research for people. She was just on the college campuses, and because some of the areas of Africa was really violent, so she was safely behind some walls there, and for the people protecting her. And they said, "Well, how is the country such and such?" She goes, "I don't know.
I don't know. I just landed
That's exactly what.
behind
Yeah,
in an
yeah,
encampment.
yeah.
We come out, people run away because they didn't want to talk to us because they were scared of us, and then we would go back to our camp. No, I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, I mean, would you like to go back to visit any of these countries
Only
now?
Kosovo.
You would like to go to Kosovo?
Yeah,
That was a pretty mountainous region, or
it's just a nice place, and plus, I would also go because you could go from Kosovo. You could go um, to all the different places. You go down to Greece and
oh,
everything,
that'd be good. Yeah,
and just see Bulgaria and just everything that's in that area. It's just they were nice people.
yeah. I've heard a lot of good about traveling through there, especially after the conflict and stuff ended. I mean, and I guess it has totally ended there, right? The
I
hostilities.
don't know.
It's like, yeah, you were there. How long did you
Six
serve?
months.
6 months. Okay. And you actually were a mayor, acting mayor in the city, weren't you?
Each platoon got their
Yeah.
own town, and then you had to fight for your town to get money for your town for roads. And we spent a lot of money building up towns and schools and infrastructure.
And probably hospitals too and stuff,
I
clinics.
would have supposed.
But anyway, I just that.
It's crazy how much money we spend on other countries, and we can't even do the same in our own.
Yeah, there's such a like, well, we don't want to give charity. That's charity. I mean,
It's but it's not when we give it away.
yes,
I mean, look what we did in Afghanistan, building one of the world's largest airfields
yeah,
and then just giving it away.
just walking away from it and leaving this. How many planes and how many
Um,
choppers and
I don't. Let's go to an old Trump video.
mm,
You'll see.
I mean, it's like it was appalling how that was handled. I mean, yeah, the pullout could have occurred. I mean, it should have occurred, but
But getting back to Trump, can you imagine the first thing that doesn't go perfectly planned? Because the first thing they're gonna say when after the inauguration, how come Israel and how come all these wars are still going on when you said they would be settled before you came into office?
yeah, that's definitely good. I was thinking that the other day, especially now the Syria thing opening up.
But after hearing Putin speak, I think it will be settled
I
or
think
close to being settled.
I think Putin's going to take Trump's dealing with Trump a lot more seriously than he did Biden. Because how the hell couldn't you? Everybody else on the world stage saw how much of a moron this guy was and how out of touch he was with reality.
And then
Biden
the other
was.
thing, China and Taiwan. Do you care? I mean, does it make a difference? All the people are ethnically
Right.
Chinese that are in Taiwan right now.
But I just don't like. I mean, I don't like saying. Obviously, I don't like seeing the repressive, society that's
Well,
created
then
by the
who do
communists.
we blame? We blame Britain for that whole mess over there. Who owned Hong Kong and
Well, and those countries, well, like for most of them, that become Taiwan. Yeah,
it was England.
England.
And
Yeah,
they're the ones that left the mess. It was England that created Israel
right.
for the most part,
We're just inheriting it. We're
and
cleaning up.
they screw everything up. And just like World War II,
Mhm.
they created that mess and drug us in. World War One, they created that mess and drug us
Yes.
in.
And we did
We're always expected to clean things up.
because they think because we have the shared culture, we have we're speaking some form of English. But I mean, Churchill, I mean, he was a mixed bag. I mean, he had some things I can say I could admire him on, but overwhelmingly, he was a colonialist. He was a racist. He
He
was
just
a
wanted to make money.
yeah, and he was so and a very arrogant man in many ways. I mean, but then again, he oversaw his, but then again, he created the scenario for his country to have to go through this. I mean, the Treaty of Versailles, I mean, that Treaty of Versailles, the end of World War One was so punitive against the Germans. John Maynard Keynes, the famous economist, said, "What you're doing to the German people is going to cause the next war."
Right.
And they saw that this is a year he died before Second World War started. John Maynard Keynes did, and they did. They agitated. They were just pissed off. England and France were pissed off at Germany for becoming upstarts and kicking ass economically and becoming industrialized because they were playing catch up. Germany was not a unified country for until maybe the 1860s
Mhm.
as a unified country, and then and in that meantime, after they got unified, bam, they were kicking economic ass. They're building
And look at
industrialization.
them now,
Yeah, there's
overrun with
the,
immigrants,
the
and
immigrants.
they're not even the Germany
Yeah,
of 20 years ago anymore.
yeah. I mean, it's sad
I
because
wouldn't go overseas right now
no, I
to
wouldn't
any of
either.
these countries. I'm worried about, I don't know, getting killed.
I mean, it's a facing the poor people living there. They don't have any recourse. They really don't. They stand up for themselves. Their own government will turn
They
against
don't
them.
own anything.
Yeah.
At least I can say I lived in Germany, and then the last time I was back there was 2000 something, 2004, I guess. But even back then, you couldn't own anything.
Yeah, I mean, because it was like a socialized
The
government.
government owns
Right.
everything. I mean, truthfully, it's more mass here. If you look at it, government owns everything
Well,
here
yeah,
too,
man.
really.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, but at least you can afford to make the payments.
let's face it. If you even if you totally got your house paid off, you never have your house
You
fully paid
can't
off.
hunt on your own land. You
Right.
can't fish on your own
You can't
land.
drink the water that's
You
under your
can't drink.
ground
Yeah, like you can't drink. You can't put a well down in your government's got to be there. I
because
mean, we talked about the garage door
right.
that whatchamacallit was talking
Bill
about.
Maher. Bill
Bill
Maher.
Maher
Yeah.
was talking about all the permits that he had to pull just for. But I can imagine how I had a huge garage door.
Yeah, but could you imagine? I mean, could you imagine how great life was when you didn't have all those concerns? Like, you want to get a roof put on, you got to put a roof on because the house is
I
leaking.
mean, we even learned. We
Yeah,
were just patching the roof on a church,
and we
and
had
some government employee from the city of Michigan pulls up and says, puts his hand out
right, basically, yeah,
and says, "You owe us money."
right. I mean, it's
We're just doing maintenance on the roof. We're not putting the whole roof
we're
on.
not selling the thing, so we're all right money making a
But no,
profit
I
off
mean
of
that
it.
costs an extra
But
$150.
right, right. So I mean,
And then we find out that Home Depot is the tattletale.
because they deliver materials to the site, they have to tell the city or the municipality of some sort. So I mean, people, if you think you're living in a free country, I think you're gonna. If you look at stuff and listen to what we're talking about, you're gonna find yourself a lot less to wave your flag on and shoot off fireworks on the 4th of July, other than maybe you just like shooting off fireworks because there's a lot less freedoms to be celebrating, and they always think it's like necessary. That's what they're gonna always argue. So,
Well, hopefully next show our friend will be back,
yep.
and if you're listening,
Hmm.
bring chocolate.
Yeah, yeah, bring chocolate. So,
And John, play the music. Huh?
okay, have a good one.